Welcome to Live It Up with Katura. I am here with my friends, Doctors Danae and Olin Netteburg. Welcome.
Hi guys.
Yay! Hi Katura. Hi everybody watching.
Thank you for watching.
Let me tell you, they and their 4 kids just completed the Appalachian Trail, 2,193 miles. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What inspired you all to hike the Appalachian Trail?
We had talked about it a couple of years ago when we had some coverage coming to the hospital. We thought, hey, we could take a long break. But then that didn't work out. Our coverage left. And then this year again, we had like 4 doctors in Barrie. So we're like, hey, we can take off and do this.
For those of us not familiar with the trail, tell us, where did you start? Where did you end?
Some people might not know where the trail goes. It's a footpath that goes from Georgia all the way up to Maine. And a lot of people do it, they call it northbound, starting from Georgia going up to Maine. And then some people do it southbound, starting in Maine going to Georgia. And then there's another group of people called flip-floppers. And they usually start in the middle to have more time and go up to Maine or whichever way they want to go. But we kind of did it weird. We were going to flip-flop, but because of the pandemic, we ended up moving all around.
Took us about 7 months of actual hiking days. I think it was a little over 5 months of actual hiking days. But we would take a week off here and a week off there, some days off here and there. So actually our first day was on February 27th, those first 2 days. But then we started in earnest March 13 and we finished October 13.
I love how you celebrated your mileage along the way.
No, it's extra special because it's 700.
In light of this pandemic we're in, can you talk about some of the precautions you use while hiking?
People were pretty respectful on the trail. They'd move well off the trail if you did come across some people. We occasionally had some buffs covering our faces, but for the most part, the pandemic, it just kind of changed where we were hiking. And then the biggest issue was going into town, I think, and trying to avoid people in town, take all the precautions that you're supposed to take when you have to go shopping for food or whatever else it is you have to do.
I think for the most part, we also didn't want to be disrespectful. I mean, we're medical professionals. All of our colleagues are fighting the pandemic in hospitals, and we get it. It's a real disease, and we weren't trying to make light of it or really even spread our story because we didn't want to be like, oh, they're the rebel people out in the woods. But at the same time, we felt like we were being safe because we were away from people. A lot of people, when they're backpacking, they call it resupply when you go into town and buy food. So we just packed our car with tons of food so we didn't have to go into any of these small towns to resupply.
Where did you stay along the trail?
At the beginning, we did it a little bit more traditionally. Mostly people, they start in Georgia with their backpack and their tent and everything on their back, and they just go and sleep in camp. That's what we did for about the first half or so. We would take the minivan somewhere, and then we'd actually have to take a shuttle up 130 miles this way and hike back to the van, and then 100 miles that way and hike back to the van, and then move the van. So we would always have the security of if something in the pandemic got bad, we would just have to make it to the van and then we could go wherever we needed to go. The first half of the hike, we mostly slept in tents. We slept outside. And then for the second half of the hike, we actually took my in-laws' camper. So we had a minivan and a camper, and for the most part, we could hike between the 2 vehicles. Sometimes we did take a tent and we'd camp overnight. Backpack.
So what would your advice be for people who are thinking about hiking the Appalachian Trail?
My advice would be find a friend who likes to hike and go with them, or likes to backpack and go with them. You can join Facebook groups, watch YouTube videos. There's lots of different ways you can research how to do it and do it well.
You've got weather that comes up. You never know how you're going to get hurt or something. So you always have to be ready to change your plans.
What were some of your favorite moments on the trail?
I think some of the favorite things were the slow days, like when we got into camp and we had a campfire and we roasted marshmallows. Or for us, since we live in Africa, there's no seasons to speak of, like here in America. And having lived there for almost 10 years, it was just so nice to come back and we saw spring come out, and then we saw the leaves come on, and then all the flowers. And I was getting into my biology roots of collecting flowers, and I took a picture of every single new flower on the trail.
Probably one of the favorite days was like a 21 hour day where we hiked up to Katahdin. So getting to the top of the highest point in Maine, whereas most people finished the trail there. We weren't done when we got there, but it was still pretty epic to have a huge day getting to the top.
It was so beautiful.
Looks like a little puppy climbing up the mountain. Is it a beast? Is it a lion? Is it a bear?
We're very proud of all the kids. I mean, it's really cool that Juniper is now, we think, the youngest to ever actually complete the whole Appalachian Trail on her own 2 feet. Really, we would have lost our minds if it wasn't for the other 3 kids, because they were kind of the ones who kept her engaged and entertained and motivated and chatted with her and sang songs with her. There was some complaining, but not much. It was very...
I mean, I don't know why they were complaining. It was like 30 degrees out on certain mornings, and then it would be raining in the 30s, and we're like, stop your complaining.
I don't care if your water bottle's frozen. Just keep walking. No, we weren't. It wasn't that bad. Nobody finishes the Appalachian Trail without a trail name. And so the kids' names are Lyle is the oldest, and he's Blaze. Zane is second, he's Boomerang. Addison is third, she's Angel Wings. And the 4-year-old Juniper, her trail name is the Beast. We started thinking of that name one day when we were hiking over what's called the roller coaster in Virginia. And it's called the roller coaster because it just does this. It's like 18 hills and 14 miles. And we were getting close to the end. And she sat down and started crying. And we didn't know why she was crying. She wouldn't tell us. And finally she told us she was crying because Mommy was carrying her backpack, and she wanted to carry her own backpack. And Danae is like, no, you're tired. I'm not going to let you carry it. Just let's get over this hill. I was like, no, fine. I gave her her backpack back, and I was like, you want it? Go ahead. She put on her backpack, and the little cad just took off up the hill.
She thought it was a game to stay in front of us.
And so she'd run up this hill around the corner, and she'd just be like sitting on a rock. And we'd come huffing and puffing up around the corner. We couldn't keep up with her.
What is the next adventure for this family?
The kids are talking about hiking another long distance trail like the Pacific Crest Trail or the Continental Divide Trail. They're talking about taking a long canoe trip. They're talking about taking a long bicycle trip.
They're talking about this because you feed it into their little brain.
No, they do this with minimal manipulation from me.
I'm Lyle, I'm 11, and my trail name is Blaze. I'm Zane, I'm 9, and my trail name is Boomerang. I'm Angel Wings, I'm 7, and my trail name is my real name is Addison.
Say, I'm Juniper, and my trail name is The Beast, and I'm 4 years old. Can you do that?
I'm Juniper, and my trail name is Beast, and I'm 4 years old.
What did you like about the trail?
For hiking?
The hiking.
All right.
I like backpacking.
Backpacking.
I like the fires.
Campfires. Yeah, this is our pyromania.
I like having campfires.
You like having campfires?
Only cowboy camping.
You like cowboy camping?
That is
That's sleeping without a tent, just throwing out a sleeping bag under the stars.
Beautiful. Tell me about some of the cool insects and things you saw. I saw some of the cool pictures with caterpillars and different things.
We saw some deer and bear.
Deer and bear. Squirrels. Chipmunks. What did you guys love to pick up a lot of?
Caterpillars.
Caterpillars.
You guys love those.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys count 255 of one day?
Oh yeah.
Salamanders.
The mascot of the Appalachian Trail.
Newts. It was newts.
Actually, newt.
There's an orange newt that is in every single state.
It comes out when it rains.
What did you guys find up in a tree one night after sunset?
Porcupine.
It's been so great talking with all of you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, those watching. Be sure to like, share this video. Be sure to live it up. And before we sign off, I have a surprise, but I need you guys to count down.
5,